Our job is to protect what remains.
Agent, I have a very special and important mission for you if you're ready to begin dividing.
Kills for skills, Agent. Skills for kills.
Kills for skills. Here's two men that, as far as I can tell, are just looking in a box. You gotta murder them real fast and good.
Skills for kills, Agent. Skills for kills.
This is The Division. I'm here with Justin, my main man. We've been playing a lot of this game together. Came out earlier this week. You didn't play any of the beta at all, did you?
No, I didn't touch the beta. I don't really like... I kind of don't do betas anymore. Don't really... I kind of like to just play it when it's ready.
You like full game experiences. So I mean, neither of us has like reached the end game of The Division. Obviously, the game's only been out for a couple days. But I feel like I played enough of it to sort of talk about it now. I really liked what I played in the beta. And I still really like a lot of The Division. There's a lot of The Division that I am not so crazy about, where it just seems like bad decisions were made to maybe make the game more annoying.
Yeah,
in certain places,
which seems like a weird intent. My thing right now, and this is not a huge thing, but you can't filter out crap on the map. You can't filter that very well.
Yeah,
there's a lot of garbage on there that I don't want to know about.
Yeah, this video is probably going to be pretty scattershot, but yeah, the map's kind of rough. There's like a billion things on it at all times, including missions that are like 20 levels above you, which is like, I'm going to have a lot of fun with those in like 3 weeks. But until then, I don't necessarily need to see them.
Can you explain upgrades real quick? Because I think that's kind of a confusing system, but it makes sense once you're like in it.
Yeah, so the whole thing about The Division, sort of the whole structure of the game, is you have this main base of operations that has these 3 wings: the security, tech, and medical wings, and then there is a storyline, I guess I should say a mission line. I wouldn't exactly call it a story, for each of those 3 wings, and as you go down them, you earn resources that you can use to upgrade those wings, and then earn new abilities and perks and talents in the different trees.
Upgrading your home base is what unlocks new skills and abilities.
Right. It's a little bit confusing, but I honestly don't think it's that hard to sort of keep track of. It does sort of... I think the specialization of your character probably comes much later on in the game, because there are different stats you can specialize in, like firearms, which makes your weapons stronger, and then like technology, I think is what it's called, that makes your skills more powerful. Right now, like my character's not specialized at all. I'm just... Because you get the resources for all the stuff for just playing through the story missions. It's not like you're having to spend like one pool of resources across these 3 things. You have 3 pools of resources, so like of course you're going to spend them. Like I have every ability unlocked right now. It's not that big.
And also, you know, as you're progressing through the levels, I'm kind of just leapfrogging to whatever gear matches my level as I go. I think I'm not making a lot of decisions in terms of specialization.
Yeah, there's not much incentive to like spend much time like there's a crafting system, there's like all these different vendors that you can use to buy different weapons and stuff like that, but every time you level up, like you almost completely outrank all your gear.
Well, so and also it's odd because it's fun, but like the skills that you select, you can change those literally on the fly.
Anytime, yeah.
I mean, like mid-mission, if you feel like you could, there's for instance, like a personal shield that you can use. So like if you feel like that would be a better fit for you right at that moment, then you
just pick it up.
You know, you just activate it.
It's more important to just like make sure that everybody in your group has a wide array of stuff, especially in stuff like the Dark Zone, which we're going to get to later. I don't want to talk anymore about like the specialization and the like loops of progression, because like that stuff is probably going to be most important at the end game, and we're not there yet. Right. I do want to talk about just sort of the game itself, because we haven't really talked about what The Division is. It is a cover-based online shooter, here's me just tearing stuff up. There's a few different weapon types, like marksman rifles, submachine guns, assault rifles, shotguns, pistols, all that stuff. But it's a cover-based shooter, and the enemies, the time to kill ratio, which is like a term for shooters, especially games like Destiny, is kind of weird in this game, in that enemies are not these red bar enemies who are like the most basic sort of grunts, but the more elite foes can be real bullet sponges.
Like a lot, to where it almost a lot of times kind of mutes the tactical end of it, because it a lot of times doesn't, like the risk of getting into a good position to get a few pot shots off on an enemy doesn't really pay off.
Yeah,
because you almost never are able to sort of winnow them down, it makes sniping from afar the most sensible course way too often, I think.
Yeah, although that's the other weird thing about the time to kill in this game, is that they can more often than not kill you in like, if you're too exposed in front of them for like a half second, you're dead. Snipers can one-shot you pretty much across the board, which makes sniping duels like really, really tedious. And I wouldn't even say it's difficult. What's really frustrating is I'm not so crazy about the bullet sponge stuff. What's frustrating is I don't think this game needs it because the AI is actually really great.
Yeah.
Like they will flank you. There's like a great combination of like rushing enemies and there's
if you try that strategy we talked about of like hanging back and sniping, it is very commonly you will look behind you to see a guy with a riot shield and a shotgun, just like
and you're dead.
ready to
Yeah.
take you to
So
town.
like the AI is really great. So this artificial difficulty of you have to shoot this guy a million times in the head. The game just doesn't need it. First of all, like the game already punishes mistakes enough because if you don't use the cover correctly, you die. You're dead. But also like the enemy will outsmart you sometimes. The enemy will outsmart your entire team and wipe you. And like that's great and it's exciting and frankly like I think it beats the hell out of the Destiny AI, which I know is like it's a completely different genre, but I think they are definitely going for the same MMO shooter type thing. So like I don't see why this game needs to be like every enemy encounter needs to be so long. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, this is the Dark Zone stuff, which I think is some of the best stuff in the game.
Yeah.
This guy is trying to goad me into going rogue by killing him, which is like a really popular strategy in the Dark Zone. This guy just gets froggy and leaps, but oops. Uh-oh. Whoops-a-daisy.
You made a mistake. So let me try this. So there are when you enter
it's tough to explain what's going on.
I tried it with Chris earlier today. When you enter the Dark Zone, there is a rank, Dark Zone experience rank, and Dark Zone currency. You need both of those to unlock to buy better gear in the Dark Zone. When you die in the Dark Zone, you lose both of those. You can, if you encounter other players, they aren't necessarily hostile to you right at the start. They become hostile if they shoot other players. They turn rogue. If you turn rogue, there's a timer on you, and other players can kill you for a bounty, and so it behooves you to not die.
Yeah.
Because if you die while you're rogue, you lose a lot of experience and a lot of
which you're about to see. So like, there's a way of like weaponizing putting your own body in front of somebody who's shooting at an AI enemy. Because shooting at AI enemies is like killing AI enemies is one of the best ways to get loot that you then have to extract from the Dark Zone in a really really tense sort of extraction standoff. If you see a person shooting at an AI enemy, if you just stand in front of them, they'll accidentally shoot you a couple times, and then they go rogue, and then you can kill them and collect a bounty on their head.
I don't actually like that. I assume that they'll fix that at some point because I don't think that's very fun.
I mean, it does force you to be like extremely careful. You do have a little bit of cushion in that, like if you shoot somebody a couple times, then you get a little warning. You don't necessarily instantly go rogue.
The only way you get the cool gear for the Dark Zone is you extract it, like you're seeing here. And when you trigger an extraction, you got to wait 90 seconds, and other players get signified of that too, which is wild because what it's basically chumming the water and saying, "Hey, somebody with leak gear is about to extract it, and if you go kill them, then you can get their stuff."
Yeah. Here we accidentally went rogue again. I couldn't tell if that guy was like dodge rolling in front of that enemy on purpose, but he got the job done. I'm here playing with Chris Plant, and we decided to just run away because this is like one of the best things about the rogue system is you can go on a killing spree of other players and then just find a place to hold up. Justin, you and I did that yesterday when we were playing in the Dark Zone. It's really terrifying and exciting, like hiding and just hoping nobody comes along while you wait for this clock to tick down.
It also is really fun to track people down who kill you.
There's some really frustrating things about this game that I'm really hoping they can fix. I think it is fixable stuff. Stuff like the fast travel system's kind of busted. Like, you have this main base of operations. Every time you fast travel to it, you actually appear outside of it, and you have to, like, walk in through this kind of slow loading process. But anytime you fast travel to one of the safe houses you can find and unlock, you go inside of those. Sometimes, like, there's one called the Cavern, which is, like, in a sewer. And every time you fast travel to it, you have to, like, climb ladders for, like, a minute and a half.
Yeah.
Just to get out to the street level. Also, the loads for the fast travels are like ubiquitously like pretty long. Stuff like that is kind of frustrating. There's stuff like dying when you're playing solo oftentimes forces you to respawn into one of those safe houses, which is like I could be like half a mile away from the mission you were just trying to do, which is like really punishing. Like,
and the weird thing about it is that sometimes it doesn't. On some of those side missions, occasionally you'll be able to respawn right there.
Sometimes that'll give you checkpoints. There's some procedural stuff that is really, really frustrating about the game, like really frustrating. But there's a lot of really neat stuff too. Like I still find myself like wanting to go back and play it and keep leveling up and doing all this stuff. I think we should return to the Division, maybe do another overview once we hit the end game, because I feel like that's where like you spend most of the time playing games like this. For now, I'm digging it, but there's definitely some room for improvement.